For me, vocation means passion.
It means passion.
I know it also means career, feelings for a career or your direction. I guess that's the definition off the head. But for me, vocation means passion. You're at a Baptist college, so I would have to say a calling.
Right.
A calling in life.
Right.
And that's the best I could describe vocation from your standpoint, because of the fact that, even with me, my whole career started off as somewhat of a spiritual journey. And I'm an unintentional activist and filmmaker. I have to say that, Tavares, because I feel that although I put some time in to accomplish what I've accomplished in my career as a filmmaker, as an activist, and using the means of filmmaking as my activism, I still have to say that there was a spiritual movement that I actually experienced that have gotten me this far.
Right.
I say unintentional because there's many people out there who actually study the craft of filmmaking. I didn't have to go through that. I just had a passion to tell the story of a little boy by the name of Emmett Till, 14-year-old Chicago youth who was murdered in 1955 while whistling at a white woman in Mississippi. I saw that photograph of Emmett Till at the age of 10 when I was in my parents' study and I came across a Jet magazine. That's what inspired me to wanting to fight injustice, because he was a 14-year-old kid, a mirror image of myself, and I could not even understand how someone could be so low and vicious to kill a child in the manner that Emmett Till was killed in, murdered in. So I would have to say from the start it was a spiritual awakening for me, because I was 10 years old when I saw that photograph. I never knew I was going to do the work that I'm doing today.
Right.
It was only, throughout my life, Emmett Till's name, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Throughout my life, Emmett Till's name kept resurfacing, and when I got into high school, I was interracially dating, and the first thing my parents would say to me was, "Keith, don't let what happened to Emmett Till happen to you." So it became this educational tool to teach me about the racism that still lurks in society, especially in the Deep South.
Right.
So they told me this story to keep me aware of the racism. But it wasn't until 2 weeks before my high school graduation where I had my true run-in with racism. I had experiences before, but this was my huge awakening and a wake-up call. I was assaulted by an undercover police officer for dancing with a white friend of mine.
Wow.
And that's what spurred me into wanting to fight injustice. And the only way I felt that was possible is becoming a part of the system. So I began to study criminal justice at Southern University with Baton Rouge in hopes of becoming a civil rights attorney. And it wasn't until my junior year of college where I was finally introduced to filmmaking by childhood friends who moved to New York City and started their own film production company. Even then, Tavares, I didn't know that filmmaking was going to be my thing. I ended up sitting out a semester, told my parents that if it doesn't work out, I just want to see what my buddies are doing. They're having a great time,
right,
doing entertainment. If it didn't work out, I was going back to school. So my first introduction to filmmaking was being a writer, a producer for music videos. That's how I got started. But at a company meeting, we sat down and they were asking me, "Keith, if there's something that you would want to produce as a film, what would that be?" I said Emmett Till, which was, of course, a name that I heard
the whole time.
Life. It was at that point where I decided to research on the case. And when I started researching on the case, is when everything started falling into place, me finding witnesses, me finding out there were more people involved with the murder of Emmett Till. And that was my first major problem.